Good morning, everyone. It is Throat Punch Thursday, July 21st. I hope you're having a great morning so far. We are seeing a little bit of red in the markets, not too much, but enough that personally, I kind of like a red-green move throughout the day. What just was released, though, here is the ECB rate. So they decided to raise their interest rate for the first time in 11 years, and they did it by 50 basis points. So why is this causing us to spike? Well, it's making our dollar just a little bit weaker. Why is that good? I know it kind of sounds crazy, but a super strong dollar, actually, it sounds odd, but it's not good for the overall doing business internationally. So it makes things more expensive for other people, whether it be travel or goods or whatever. So it's such a delicate balance. And the euro and the dollar had met parity, which is the first time it's happened in years. And we saw a bit of weakening in the markets because of that. Now we're seeing that the ECB has raised their interest rates by 50 basis points, and they signaled that this is not the last one they're going to do, that they are looking to do more. So that gives our dollar a little bit of weakness. It brings the euro back up above the dollar a little bit. I think it was like at 102 when I last looked, but we'll see. Anyway, that's what this little spike is. Now it's Thursday, so we do have jobs numbers coming out in about 9 minutes, so we'll see if I'm still on here, and we'll get to see the reaction of that number. Yesterday, this is the gap, this 395.78. Let's pop over to a daily chart on the SPY, and I'm going to go ahead and pull off these fib lines because I know it makes it easier to see. We just barely poked our head into this very large gap that goes all the way up to 401.44. Now, I'm not huge. I like seeing what dark pools are. If you're not familiar with what they are, look inside our Dropbox. There is a document that goes through and explains what dark pool is. But basically, it is very large trades that go through on private exchanges. We don't see them go through on our exchanges for a plethora of reasons, but whatever. So I did see a very large dark pool that went through yesterday on the SPY at 394.86. So, and that did happen after the market. So after our regular market close, the SPY, the Qs, those ETFs actually do trade an extra 15 minutes after market close. So they don't shut down until 16:15 or 4:15 Eastern time rather. Anyway, saw about $1.76 billion in SPY at 394.86. So that did go through, and it did not go through at that time. That's just when it was posted. But that will be a level that we will watch here that is below the gap, but it's right in here. Funny, right? Pretty much right at our support line that we have here from yesterday. Huh, look at that. See? Okay, so this is what we will be watching today to see if that is then our support and we move on. Couple names I just want to talk about real quick. Tesla reported a lot of, speculation going into that number. And I will tell you, it does seem like everybody was talking down, and even Elon Musk is like, oh, we're hemorrhaging cash, right? This is, just ways of kind of tampering any kind of excitement going into the number. And even though it was a partial miss, they beat on EPS, they missed on revenue. They are still able to produce, their production numbers are increasing. Now their margins are down a little bit. However, they had room in there to deal with that. So apparently everybody liked the numbers, and up we go. So this morning on Tesla, we are sitting at 762.74. Had gone all the way up to 772.50 before the close. So we'll see that nice day trade opportunity in there. And then AA, really liked AA, not because I drink too much in my closet, because I don't. Well, usually. AA, going into their earnings, they had a really nice squeeze of the 3, 8, and the 20, and they built up some volume. We had just tested the 20. Well, after earnings, we are sitting at 46.70. Very nice move in there. Look at some other names maybe in this basics that will move along with it, but AA reported and doing very well. Okay, now let's get into the regular charts. Here's what the SPY futures looks like right now. We're putting in an inside candle. Yesterday, we actually ended up having pretty decent volume on the futures chart, but when we go back and look at the SPY chart, it was just a little bit lighter on that move over the 50. Overall, I think it was just fine. Again, we kind of, seems like we get really slow in the days. We wait for all these earnings, and again, next week, huge earnings, right? Okay, so what does this look like? Looks like a nice little flag kind of forming here. Want to see this actually make a decisive move up, push into that gap, and maybe come back and hold the top of that gap as support. That would be my preference, but since the market didn't ask me, I will just watch and see what it gives us. Here's the cues. They are leading the way up. They led the way up before, they led the way down, and now they're leading the way back up. We're starting to see actually a nice little uptrend on the daily here, right? But I am not convinced of this uptrend until we get probably a good leg over 12,910. That would be kind of where I would look. Okay, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin took a bit of a dip down yesterday after Tesla had reported that they had exchanged 75, or they believe about 75% of their Bitcoin for fiat currency, and down Bitcoin went. However, it had been moving up. Watch that 25,000. That's going to be a big level for Bitcoin. With the dollar weakening just a smidge here on that ECB news, we see a little push up here in gold, but it is still overall a very bearish trend in gold, and until we see that change, I will stay out of it. And we are seeing a pretty hefty pullback here in oil. Now, do I think this is probably going to come back? I really do. But as of right now, this is playing out to be a bear flag. We stepped out of our XLE, if you were with me on those yesterday, for about 25%. So pretty happy that we did that. And now we'll wait for the next setup. Okay, what am I watching today? Well, speaking of Tesla and Twitter and, oh, okay, totally not important, but Mattel, the maker of Barbie, is doing a whole toy line for SpaceX. So anybody seeing Barbie and Ken in some SpaceX suits? All right, well, anyway, I actually think that's pretty cute. Not that I have any Barbie dolls, but, you know, anything that has to do with space and science is good for kids to get into. Yesterday on Twitter, we had this really nice inside candle. We held the 50. Not a lot of great volume, so we're just sitting here kind of waiting. We know that that next hearing is going to be in October. Musk lost that battle to that expedited. Twitter wanted to expedite it and have it here in September, October, and Musk was fighting that, trying to say, no, we don't want it to happen that quick. Well, he lost, and so it'll be in October. All that to get back to that. Anyway, okay, so here we are with Twitter, sitting inside with Tesla having moved up. I kind of like this to the long side. However, you can play either side of this. I set it up as a Twitter $40 call. I want to enter right at 40.01, stop at 38.80. 40.01 is the top of yesterday's candle. 38.80 is the low. Now, let's say it goes the other way. Where would I play? I would take so you just flip over the entry and exit. You would, on a short side, if you wanted to play a put, you would enter at 38.80 and stop at 40.01, and I would still take the 40. So you can take that as a put or call. However, it decides to move today. If it does go below and hold below that 50, that's definitely the put side. It's a very good put side to play. All right, so that's Twitter. Hope that all made sense. Crowd is my next one on the list. I know a lot of these names keep kind of popping up in the same area when I run my scans. They just kind of come out, being the same names over and over. But, if it's not broke, I'm not going to fix it, because that would just be silly. There we go. There's a new trend line. Again, larger size wedge, but definitely this a much nicer uptrend working. We just hit this trend line looking for a break of it. Nice, came out of this nice 3/8 squeeze and holding it. Like the look in Crowd. I like the 185 call. I want to enter there right around 184.30. Stop at 182.98. And my targets are 188, 190.50, and then 194.50. 485. All right, and this last one is a downside play, and this is Schlumberger. See, fun to say, isn't it? Schlumberger, kind of rough. I know it does have this bullish gap, it held it and has these open candles, but with the overall bearish look in this sector here, not all of the sector, but this one in particular, if it can't get over the 20, I do like this to come back down. Now, it does have earnings coming up here. Oh, actually tomorrow. Ah, dang it. See? You have to check these things. So this would just be a day trade because I will not hold it through earnings, but it does look bearish to me. I like the 33 put, enter at 33.55, stop at 34.14, and my target would be 32.90 and then 31. Several others that are still looking great. Boeing, Cost, Walmart, Target. You see a theme here? Look at this Target one in particular. It is a very orderly chart. Would have loved to have seen this take a pause and pull back a little bit and then bounce up to test that 50, but this one in particular has an amazing gap to work through. So really love it. And once we get above 169.10, there is very little to stop us before we hit 182. So definitely keep Target on your list. I see that one was on Edie's list as well. Should be on mine every day because I seem like we do a lot of shopping at Target. Anyway, oh yeah, I already said Walmart. Some others, AA reported. We did talk about that one, so keep that one on your list. Netflix post earnings yesterday came back in, did very well. We'll look for a continuation on that, probably more of a day trade, just because some of these, when they stretch out this far, they might need a little bit of a break. I like Rivian, and perhaps this will move with Tesla, so check out all of those Chinese or all of those electric vehicle names like NIO, XPEV. XPEV has just been under a world of hurt, but watch for a bounce in this one here today. And then on the downside, as we talked about, the gold and metals sector. Now it's bouncing a little bit here, but watch for a continued fail. So I like gold and FCX to come back down with the dollar, and then EXPE looks pretty good, right? Looks pretty good for an up, but I feel like it's going to smack this 34 and have a little bit harder of a time. We'll see how that plays out, but it looks a little bit more bearish to me. All right. I hope you all have a fantastic day. We'll keep an eye on this SPY chart. If you have any questions, reach out. Heather C. at givingtreetrading.com.